Welcome everyone to week 2 of the Puma League.
Welcome.
I'm your host Brian, and I'm here with my co-host
Albert Lamb.
and commentary from Coco. Anyways, our first game up this week was the one between Metropolis State Crusaders and the Emperors.
It's a powerful point game, close victory, but Brad brought it in near the end and just completely devastated.
Yes, I can see that. You were a little behind, and then at the end of Sunday things were looking okay, and then Monday happened.
Yep. It was a good match, though. I think what made the real big difference for him, though, was that S. Diggs, he hauled in 9 catches on team-high 11 targets for 182 yards and a TD in Sunday's 17-14 win over the Packers.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is a lot of points.
Yep. Especially for a wide receiver. It was rough.
Your QB kind of underperformed a little bit because they got smushed. 14-38, damn.
I have to wait until game 5 before I can start using Brady. So it's gonna be the first 4 games of this season are gonna be rough for me point wise.
Yes, and just your true running backs just put very, very poor numbers up, which is unfortunate. Yeah, just even your bench just didn't do as well, and the tight ends were low. I have to say Thomas was always a good choice, and DeAndre Hopkins. Your wide receivers are doing really well.
Well, I was going to say one of the problems is that Rawls has a slight injury, and I think that
it was
like a lot of
not
players,
practice that week.
Bradley, on the other hand, though, his kicker did 16 points.
At least your defense did well. 12 for the Vikings. Nice.
I haven't really wanted to sub in the Steelers yet because they haven't really been performing that well week by week so far. I mean, it is early. We're only 2 games in. But the Vikings are doing really well this year.
But Brad made smart choices with both Decoy Murray and Stephon Diggs. Mike Wallace is always, seems like a good, solid choice.
16 points is a solid amount of points for an individual player.
Yeah, and then a whopping 24 for Stephon.
Yeah, that was...
And his bench was... He made pretty good choices. Andrew Luck, limited practice and stuff. That's always kind of a tough choice. I wanted not to put him in. But we'll see what happens next week.
Yeah.
And then his kicker... his kicker and his defense. Solid choice with Carolina.
30 points between the two.
Yep.
Not bad, Brad. Not bad.
Always a good choice playing against 49ers.
Yeah.
Especially Carolina. They're looking really good this year. Okay, moving on to game 2, which was Kevin MacArthur versus the Gotham Rogues.
Goddard absolutely devastated this week.
This was very one-sided.
Yes. His second best player besides his quarterback was K. Benjamin, Kelvin. And he had 22.8 points.
Damn, that is impressive.
And the standout was that he caught 7 balls on 9 targets for 108 yards and 2 scores during Sunday's win over the 49ers.
That is impressive. Also, a tight end, Greg Olsen. 18 points.
Yeah, that's true.
He had all but 2 players in the double digits.
Holy shit. Yeah, he racked up 122 receiving yards and a touchdown on 5 receptions.
That is impressive.
Sunday's win over the 49ers. Holy shit. Olsen looks like if Shrek was beautiful.
Okay, I'm clicking him now. I will accept that.
Yeah, I could cut cheese on that man's jaw. Okay.
And I would like to point out to Anthony that his only 2 players that didn't perform well were Bears.
It's true.
And even his bench did well. He could have, if he would have dropped the Bears players, he would have gotten more points. Just let that sink in.
Oh, it is. That's funny.
Moving down to the Gotham Rogues.
Plus, I'm really surprised that Manning only brought in 12 points. That I'm actually legitimately...
Yeah.
He's a pretty decent point maker.
Yeah, New Orleans, I guess, defense stepped up because they held them to 16 points.
Yeah.
And Jones did well, even with a little bit of his leg injury. and he still went out there and performed. Unfortunately, and Larry Fitzgerald, which is always a solid choice. Someone that was looking at preseason
Mm-hmm.
for Arizona. He put up good numbers.
Larry.
Yes, um, but his running backs just did not perform, which is something we've seemed to be struggling with as a group.
Yeah.
Even his bench, the running backs, nothing.
I feel like the real problem has something to do with not being terribly confident in who to make exchange with this year yet.
Wow, his tight end, just
Yeah.
wow. Martellus Bennett, that's impressive. Bad choices, but
Yeah, he did, but
it's
he
hard to tell
couldn't have,
sometimes.
he couldn't really have known, and we've talked about this a little bit a couple nights ago. He was mentioning about how the projections don't really give him good advice because he goes with them, and then things like this happen.
For me, I've been looking at almost more of what team they're playing than the projections themselves.
That's what I'm doing this week. This is
Yes,
the controlled experiment. We'll see
But
how accurate
but you know how it is every game Sunday, and then the Niners defense only gave him 5 points. But the kickers for the Bronco, Brandon McManus, solid 14 points.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
We'll see where it goes. I'm curious. I'm curious to see where it evolves.
And then our third game is mine. Bacon and Eggs versus Jenny MacArthur.
Mm-hmm. Hope Steam.
And so close.
I
was so far up, and then things happened.
That's a lot. I mean, well, 1.3, but still.
Yeah. Rogers did all right. Matt Forte was amazing. Legant Blout did all right. He's a solid running back choice.
McCoy did 9 points.
Yep.
Decent.
I still can't get a good thing with a right in. If I would have switched
What? In my
something out, I would have been okay.
My humble opinion, though, what really got you though was actually her defense.
Oh yeah.
Her defense got 22 points, which is insane. I mean, defense seems to be doing really well this year for some reason across the board, but that's a lot of points just coming from the defense.
I know, and the sad thing is to me personally, if I would have switched out my running back, if I would have switched out basically any of the three on the bench, I think I would have won, even with the.
Fitzpatrick.
No, I would need more than 0.4 for Cobb, but yeah, even like quarterback switching out, which I hate to admit, but they just crushed Buffalo.
Yep.
I did not see that game going that high.
374 pass yards, 1 pass touchdown, and 21 rushed yards. And Fitzpatrick was busy.
Yep.
That was a busy game for him.
Exactly, and then going down to Jenny MacArthur.
All round solid.
Yep. Her QB didn't perform too well in their 3-9 loss versus the Rams, but like you said, the running back and the wide receiver game did amazing. Javaris Landry did really good. Just the kicker and the defense, that was amazing.
Because she basically averaged out 10 for 8 of her players, if you really spread it across point-wise. And then, the Broncos did 22 points. So that's really what it is. That's really what she did. It was just a good, solid, strong, median performance from every player on the team. Nobody was a complete dud. I mean, you could make the argument Jennings at 4 points wasn't that great, but that's the lowest she had. And she didn't really have much on the bench that mattered. I mean, Nelson would have added had she replaced the right person.
Yeah.
So, that's it.
But it was still an incredibly close game, and this is the sour grapes of this this week.
Absolutely. I mean, they said that the whole thing was Broncos linebacker DeMarcus Ware is set to undergo surgery for his forearm Tuesday. And all reports indicate that Ware is likely to miss 4 out of 5 weeks due to his fractured ulna. While this is by no means something that Denver is pleased about, the team is definitely equipped to perform at high level despite his absence. Remember, this defense still has the most prolific pass rusher in all of football in Von Miller, and a stout secondary that features the likes of Chris Harris Jr. and TJ Ward. So she's going to have just a slight disadvantage in following weeks. Just a slight.
Slight, yeah.
Yeah.
Still really, really good turnout for the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
And then game 4 is Clickster versus Scrub Life.
Bob, Mr. Green.
And this is another good close game. This is a point, like basically 8-point difference. So it could have gone back and forth a few different points.
I still, I'm really surprised in games like this because if you take the QB out, which practically had the exact same points in this game, nobody had a player that did over. Well, let's see. The highest was 16.1 with Murray on Clickster. So it does encourage you to think of your team. It seems like, this is my opinion, to be more balanced. Like, it's great that you have a couple really powerful players, but you really want to have a team that's filled with people who just show up, do a good job, and go home.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just like the small things, like the running back for Miami just, got less than a point versus the 5 there. A 2 versus a 3.8. It's just those incremental differences that really get there. Scrub Life won, and, he made good choices, but he needs to consider some switch up because look at that bench point.
Well,
that's a lot to leave there.
Crabtree was the biggest for Keaton's team, but yeah, Bob had a lot of points on the bench.
Yeah.
In fact, he could have dominated this game had he just put in one other person from the bench, except for like Riddick and Thomas. So 4 out of 5 is a pretty large.
Because the Crabtree switched out with say like D. Baldwin from Seattle, that could have gotten him 7 points in the victory. So. So I don't know if Keaton could have won.
I do think Keaton needs to potentially consider getting a second kicker.
Because Crosby's is not performing.
He is not performing. Actually, he's only managed. Let's see, his first week he got
2
9.
points.
9 wasn't bad, I guess. 9 is a decent.
Yeah, nine's good for a kicker. We'll see how he does this week.
Yeah. Okay, and then on to our last game, Soccer and Santa Rosa Tramp Stamps.
Yeah, Tramp Stamps, which continues its losing streak.
Poor Shane. Good job, David, though. I want to give David a shout out.
Soccer's great. Cam Newton, solid choice. Continues to perform well. I think Carolina has a big chance this year. And let's see here. What else? We have the Freeman and Ingram matched up pretty well. But yeah, he did not have good wide receiver and running backs. They just had a bad week.
Nope.
Kicker did great. But, David's did really good. And then the Carolina defense, which is a solid choice at 23 points. Wow. Are they first? They are ranked second. What defense is first? That's a lot of points. That's 7 points. They got it, so they got a touchdown. 3 sacks, 4 interceptions, a fumble. Oh, wow.
This is the part that I feel it's because here's the thing. To be fair, there's only really one thing that Shane could have done different.
Coleman needs to get in there because he could have gotten. That would have been a victory if he would have switched out Coleman.
Yeah, but you're right about the QB though. The Carr managed to do almost 25 points, so that would have been another 10.
Yeah.
So he would have been at 80, and then anything else he would have added in would have been gravy
on the train.
Breeze
is doing good this. He's ranked 4, but he had 31 points last week. That's right.
And
but they could try. But that was against Oakland though.
Yeah. There wasn't much that David could have done different. I mean, once again,
David was a solid. Yeah.
It was the wide receivers he could have changed out.
And David still made some good choices. A couple wide receiver changes, sure, but his wide receivers, maybe Tate. They were against Tennessee.
I'm impressed with his kicker, Santos.
Wow, Texans defense, bravo. But yeah, the kickers did really well.
I wonder how we look up who's at the highest on the defense. We'll have to.
That's easy. We just go to league. Or fantasy.
Well, right now it's the Vikings.
Yeah.
That does not surprise me, actually. I'm consistently getting a lot of points from every week. And the Cardinals are number 2.
Exactly.
Well, that's also because I went ahead and got defense a turn earlier during the trade.
That is true. That is true. 21-12. And the thing is, they're only owned by 80% of the leaguers. Huh. Like, of the different leagues. I always kind of look at that number to see where the masses are going and seeing if, people are being biased or, making good choices.
Well, they're trying to pose, according to the NFL fantasy point tracker, they're trying to pose that the
Yeah,
Vikings are going to do really poor this week, which is always funny to me because I'm gonna go with overall raw performance
exactly.
and see what happens. Plus, they're posed to do really well this week, so I'm not gonna fuck with that in the middle of my game. So
Exactly. And, it'll get there eventually. That kicker just did really well, though.
oh man, yeah, I know. I kind of like when there's some shakeups in the third week, though. I really kind of hoping that Mitch and I both pull in a win this week, and you as well, because it would be nice to break up the losing streaks and start kind of because otherwise we're gonna keep getting if we go down this path too long.
We're gonna have
Then
we're gonna have like 2 or 3 people with like 7-3 or 7-4.
yeah, I don't want that to happen this year. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Like I said,
Exactly.
my secret card doesn't strike until 5th week, so it's kind of painful. So
Alas.
he's gonna be angry.
Hopefully he doesn't get injured.
He's gonna come out of the gate and he's gonna do really well. I can feel it this year.
Awesome. I am projected to beat Kevin, but we'll see.
I think that you have the complete and utter possibility of winning this week because not only are you getting the projected points that well, but every player on that team that you have currently right now is doing well stat wise,
Yeah.
including the Rams.
And we have
So,
LeBlount from New England that came out with 22 points strong,
fuck
which
yeah.
is promising. And I switched up some stuff we'll discuss next week after it gets a chance to let us know
Okay.
how it goes.
Okay.
Anyways, I want to thank everyone for watching. We will see you next week with more Puma League breakdown. Goodbye.
Beautiful days and sunny nights.